In the summer, a small secret Provençal village in the south of France calls your name. This charming Mediterranean town, tucked away in the Massif des Morts mountain range, is home to many hidden delights waiting to be explored. And with night rapidly approaching along the coast, the quiet roads and open walkways feel even more inviting. As the sun continues to fall below the horizon, let's settle in for the evening with a brief wind-down exercise. Tonight's wind-down is an exercise we call noting. It helps to soothe the mind, and once you've learned it, you can even use it if you wake up during the night. We are going to count our breaths, and then just gently noting thoughts and feelings as they arise. We're not trying to change them. We're simply labeling thinking as thinking and feeling as feeling. It may sound incredibly simple, but it can help to create distance between ourselves and the thought, and ourselves and the feeling, so we don't get so involved in it. That, in turn, creates a more restful state of mind. In other words, the perfect conditions for gentle, restful sleep. So to begin, just take a moment or two to get comfortable. Make sure you're nice and cool. Just starting with some big, deep breaths. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And with the next out breath, allow the breath to return to its natural rhythm, in and out through the nose, and feeling the weight of your body pressing down into your bed. And in your own time, starting to count the breaths as they pass. 1 with the rise, 2 with the fall, just up to a count of 10. When you get to 10, you can stop and start again at 1. And remember, anytime you get distracted, the moment you realize you're distracted by thought, simply note it, thinking, and return to the breath. Or if a feeling arises, note it as feeling, and return to the breath. Noting is very gentle, not harsh at all. Think of it like a feather, just gently touching the surface of a crystal glass. I'm going to give you a few moments just to keep counting the breath and noting any thoughts and feelings that arise. That's great. Just outside the village sits an authentic Provençal fishing port. The moonlight and sparing street lamps cast just enough light to make out the purposeful movement of the dozen or so fishermen on the port. They gear up their trawlers and their pointures, the slender, colorful boats that traditionally dot the Mediterranean coastline, for the day ahead. The fishermen, wearing their navy blue caps and their muddy yellow raincoats, load up their boats with an easy, learned flow. Here, the fishermen are not only the heart of the port, but the foundation of the nearby village, providing fresh fish to the surrounding areas day in and day out. The reliable lifestyle of the fishermen echoes the simple rhythm of the sky. They embark at nightfall, their families asleep, their town cloaked in darkness, to begin the evening's work. If you happen across them at the right time, you can watch them unload their daily bounty onto ice and smell the distinct fishiness that comes with it. Today, there is quite the variety of seafood: gurnard, red mullet, sea bass, hake, sea bream, sardines. The fisherman's satisfaction is revealed only in the slight smile they let slip as they finish setting up their market stalls. As the light grows, the gourmands, the regulars, and curious visitors will arrive. It's easy to imagine the discussions that will be had amongst them. White sauce with sorrel? Or a simple pan fry with lemon? Before they make their selections, eager to return home for their midday meal. The homes in this tiny village are built with nearly identical architecture and painted in a variety of colors: reds, yellows, pinks, greens, blues. The narrow spiraling streets, lined with palm trees on either side, feel almost like a labyrinth. There are picture-perfect restaurants, artisanal stores, and cafes on nearly every block. Though at this time of night, they are empty and sit peacefully still. Down through the city center, an older couple sits on a small brown bench, sharing an ice cream cone. These two seem to be part of the scenery, having inscribed their love in the alleys of this Provençal village for many years. The atmosphere is calm, summery, and relaxing. Beyond the heart of the village, the streets become more and more hilly, leading up to a magnificent vista point. A low retaining wall sits on the side of the road, providing a perfect spot to sit and enjoy the panoramic view of the mountains. It feels as if this village sits in the sky. In the summer, bougainvillea, a thorny climbing shrub with delicate magenta flowers, cover the sides of these walls. Their purple color is deepened with the contrast of the pastel tones of the village. A few large umbrellas are propped up on the sidewalk ahead, standing over a collection of bubblegum pink chairs. In front of one of these chairs is a small white fountain. The relaxing sound of the flowing water adds yet another dimension of peace to this space, bringing you even deeper into the moment. Gazing onto the village hillside, you notice as the colors of the houses change little by little. One in particular catches the eye, a red house with turquoise shutters, terracotta roof tiles, and an immaculate white door. A long-haired orange cat is lounging on the small roof above the door, dozing in the soft moonlight. How comfortable he looks. Down by the side of the house, a young woman performs some nighttime gardening, clipping the flowering branches from an overgrown mimosa tree. You admire the fluffy yellow bouquet she puts together and take in the sweet honey-like smell as it drifts by. She works with slow, methodical movement, in no rush at all. Once her hands are full with the blooming flowers, she brings them into the home and arranges them in a lovely display on the dining room table. Down the village's main road, you find a stone staircase with wide steps. A little ginger cat jumps from a nearby rooftop and trots over to meet you. He rubs gently against your legs and makes his way up the rocky steps, as if asking you to follow. At the top of the stairs, the little cat ambles towards a small greenhouse covered with ferns, built in the middle of the village. Inside the greenhouse is a hidden garden filled with trees, flowers from all over the world. It is a feast for the senses, an unexpected exotic paradise. The little cat wants to give you a tour of all the plants. He stops in front of a blue gum tree and rubs his body against the waxy blue-gray eucalyptus, releasing the refreshing oils of the plant. The sand drifts over you and instantly puts you in a state of calm and serenity. The cat purrs warmly as it makes its way to the next plant. On the outskirts of the village sits a large, sprawling field of lavender, the signature flower of Provence. What a medley of colors: purple, yellow, green, blue. It is a real pleasure for the eyes and for the nose. All your senses are awake. The sweet perfume from the field reminds you of freshly washed laundry hanging out to dry in the sun. The crickets welcome you with their signature songs. Almond and olive trees adorn the field. There is no single cloud in the sky. Standing under one of the olive trees, an old man with a thick white mustache is painting the evening landscape on an easel. He's smiling contentedly, so lost in the flow of his work that he seems to notice nothing else. The sound of the brush dipping into the paint is soothing. He mixes blue and red paint, adding in white until he reaches the perfect shade of purple. He adds delicate strokes of lavender to his canvas, perfectly recreating the fields before him. You breathe in the familiar air of the flower fields. With the moon hanging above and the dreamlike scent of lavender wafting all around, it's easy to understand how this man can become so absorbed in his art. Down a nearby alleyway is a small pottery workshop beloved by the local townspeople. Sitting behind the counter is Amélie, the talented ceramicist and cheerful shop owner who shares her love of pottery with anyone who crosses her path. The workshop is vibrant and decorated in colors that echo the different types of clay Amélie uses. Mint green chairs, off-white work tables, and salmon pink curtains. Shelves of Amélie's creations line the walls. Even at the height of summer, the studio is somehow always cool and welcoming, thanks in part to the large terracotta tiles that cover the floor. For Jojo, Amélie's dog, the cool ground is the perfect place to lounge on a summer evening. Amélie often finds that she does her best work at night, when it's most quiet and calm. She starts by preparing the soil, which she mixes into clay. The wet clay slides between her fingers, almost like a child playing with mud. She continues to mix, feeling satisfaction as the clay starts to constitute between her hands. Once the clay is prepared, she drops it in the center of the wheel She gently guides the clay as the wheel begins to spin, forming a rotating tower. She works with a smile, clearly connected to the art she is creating. It's beautiful to watch someone with such passion for what they do, channeling their creative energy into something physical for others to view and enjoy. At the edge of town stands the historical Martin Soap Factory, sister company to Raindrop Soaps in the US. It is here that the majority of the inhabitants of the village used to work, making the authentic Marseille soap. Tonight, there are only 10 employees in the factory, the master soap makers. Their famous soap is made of only vegetable oil, sea salt water, and soda. A simple recipe that has been passed down for over 300 years. Here, it is Jean who runs everything, the third generation owner of the soap factory. He loves his job and can't imagine another line of work. He's worked at the factory for 40 years, learning the craft from his father, who learned it from his father. Jean is quite a character, recognizable to everyone in the village for his uniform of a worn blue cap and green work coat. He acts as the de facto town historian. In his deep but soft voice, he can spend hours telling stories about the village and soap factory that he heard from his father and grandfather. You can often see him walking through his workshop with the many shelves filled with those famous green cube soaps. Tonight, he watches over his soap as it cooks in a huge cauldron. To help with the soap making process, he steers the oil with a large shovel to turn it into soap paste. It makes waves with a texture similar to liquid chocolate. Jean concentrates on his slow and delicate gestures. It is an exercise in patience, as it will take 2 full days for the paste to be made. The master soap maker will know the soap is ready when he tastes the paste with the tip of his tongue to check that it doesn't sting anymore. It is a slow process, but one that is now second nature to Jean. It is part of his heritage, and his daily work is how he stays connected to his grandfather, who started the soap factory all those years ago.